The story starts with Carola, a German woman living in Switzerland, who is on holiday with her boyfriend Steven in Kenya. They have been together for about 2 years, and Steven, who is madly in love with her, is thinking of taking their relationship to the next level, that is marriage. Everything was going smoothly for them, but on the last day of their trip, their downfall occurred. Carola and Steven were enjoying sea view on a ferry when Carola sees 2 men dressed in a weird way. Carola couldn't take her eyes off one of the men that also seemed to be enchanted by Carola. Carola asks Steven about them, on which Steven answers that they belong to Maasai tribe that live in villages and are very barbaric in nature. But Carola couldn't help but fall in love with him. On the way to their hotel, they were attacked by few thugs, and while escaping them, Carola collides with the same Maasai guy who rescues them and tells them his name, Lemelian. Steven requests Lemelian to take them back to the ferry, where Steven takes pictures with them as a gratitude. Due to all this chaos, they had missed their hotel bus, and once again Lemelian and his friend drop them to their hotel. Carola invites them for dinner, but the security guard doesn't let them in, so Carola takes them to a nearby bar, where Carola asks Lemelian for a dance. They try to kiss each other, when Steven sees all this and gets angry on Lemelian and takes Carola back to the hotel. Next day, at the airport, Carola remembers her time spent with Lemelian and decides to stay, on which Steven says that whatever she is experiencing right now is not love, it is just lust. But Carola doesn't listen to him and goes to find Lemelian. It turns out that Lemelian has gone to his home village far away in the Samburu district. Carola travels to that area and stays at the house of another German woman, Elizabeth, who also married a Kenyan man. Elizabeth tells Carola that it is not easy to live here, although she lives in a city, but still she encounters so many problems, and Carola will be living in a village. It won't be easy for her as Maasai people don't value women much, but Carola, who is blinded by love, paid no heed to her words. On the other hand, Lemelian hears about her stay and comes to meet her. Lemelian takes her to a hotel room where previously his friends were staying, and they both spend the night together, and Lemelian asks Carola to come with him. Next day, Carola leaves with Lemelian for his hometown, which is far away in the mountains. On arriving there, Maasai people stare at Carola as she is some kind of alien. Lemelian takes her to meet his mother that gets angry on Lemelian, but still welcomes Carola, and then Lemelian and Carola start to live together. Coming few days were quite difficult for Carola, as her way of living was totally different from their of living, and the major problem was of food. Maasai people used to eat raw meat, which Carola couldn't, but for the sake of Lemelian, she tried to adjust over there. One day, she ran into the priest, who asked her to leave this land, as she won't be able to adjust over here, and just then she was called by an officer, who told her that she cannot live here until she gets her residential license, for which she has to marry a native person. So the very next day, both Lemelian and Carola leave for the main city, where Lemelian was not allowed to enter any building because of his dressing. So Carola took Lemelian for shopping, where she bought jeans and shirts for him. They both spend the night together, and Carola got sick the next day. Lemelian observed her symptoms and diagnosed her with malaria. He gave her medication, and after a day or two, Carola recovered. She also got her residential license a couple of days later. Carola then calls her mother and tells her to send her some money, from which she buys an old car. She takes Lemelian and other Maasai people back to their hometown. When on the way, the Maasai people began to judge her for driving and ask Lemelian to drive, who also insisted on driving, although he didn't know how to drive and got them into an accident. When Carola tried to scold him, he got angry on her and left the car. But at the end, Carola was the one who had to apologize to him. She also told him that she will be going to Switzerland for a few days and asked him to wait for her. In Switzerland, Carola tells her family that she is going to marry Lemelian, but her family is not happy about this arrangement, as they belong to a very prestigious family and cannot accept someone from a small village. Next day, Carola sees Steven with another woman and thinks that she can finally move on with her life without any guilt. Carola returns back to Kenya, where she had bought gifts for everyone from her own shop. There, Lemelian's mother observes Carola's walk and tells her that she is pregnant and asks her son to marry her as soon as possible. On the day of wedding, priest again came to visit Carola and warned her that this place is not for her, but she didn't listen to him and told him to go from here as she didn't want to ruin her special day. And finally, they both got married according to Maasai tribe traditions. The next day, Carola finds the whole tribe gathered under a tree where the old tradition of female circumcision is being practiced, and Carola gets frustrated with it. She wanted to stop it and asks Lemelian and Priest for help, but no one bothers, for which she gets angry on Priest. So Priest tells her that he has been trying to change these traditions here for past 20 years, but these are the long traditions of their forefathers that cannot be changed easily. Carola visits Elizabeth and asks her to rent her a shop so that she can buy food and goods for Maasai people, as they have to travel to Samburu district again and again. Elizabeth agrees to help her, but when Lemelian gets to know about this, he gets angry on her. But this time, Carola doesn't back of. Just then, a lady calls for her help as her elder sister is in labor, and asks her her to drive her to hospital. Carola calls for help to make that lady sit in the car, but no one comes forward, and Lemillion also refuses to assist because the woman is supposedly bewitched. Finally, after many attempts, Carola succeeds and drives the car to the hospital. But on the way, the car's tire got punctured, due to which that woman has to deliver her baby by herself. But due to breech delivery, both the baby and mother dies, and Carola gets very disheartened. After a few days, Carola needed the license to run the shop, and the officer from the start of the movie asks her to hire his nephew Mike, and in return, he will give her license, on which she agrees. On the same night, Priest came to visit her and apologized for his rude behavior the other day. He also advised her that she should not deal with male customers because Lemillion wouldn't like it. Maasai people are very orthodox and true to his words. Lemillion didn't like when Carola interacted with male customers. Carola also visited Elizabeth, that told her that she and her husband are moving to the main city for better life, and Carola got sad on hearing this. Though Carola, being heavily pregnant, still did all her work by herself, and not even once Lemillion tried to help her. One day, Carola finds out that Lemillion has been giving his friends and neighbors all goods without taking any money, so they are losing all the moving, and they also have to pay some money to that officer for license. Lemillion argues that this is no problem because she has more money in Switzerland, on which Carola denies, that she won't ask help from her family, and Lemillion as usual gets angry on her, and like always, Carola apologizes to him, but deep down, she feels that their marriage is falling apart. Day by day, Lemillion started to get jealous of Carola being friendly with the male customers, and one day, accused her of infidelity. But later that night, he came back to apologize to her, and she forgave him, again. Couple of days later, Carola experiences labor pains, and Priest calls air ambulance and takes her to the hospital, where she delivers a beautiful baby girl, which Lemillion names her Sarai. On returning back to the shop, she is shocked to find out that no goods are left in the shop, and Mike has turned her shop in some kind of bar. She gets angry on Mike and fires him from the job, and also starts taking money from the tribe people. Later at night, Mike returns and attacks Carola with a knife, but Lemillion saves her and accuses her that it's all her fault. The next day, a local judge rules that Carola has to pay 2 goats to the officer for firing Mike, but the boy's family has to pay her 5 goats to compensate for the attack. Carola asks Lemillion to graze her goats as well, but Lemillion denies, saying that he is a man, and a man doesn't graze his wife's goats. One day, Lemillion suspects a male customer of having an affair with Carola and fights with her. He takes his daughter away from her and tells his mother about Carola's affair, which Carola hears it and gets disheartened. On returning back to the shop, she steps on the dead fetus of a goat and starts screaming. On hearing her screams, Lemillion and other Maasai people gather around her. Lemillion's mom tells her that there is nothing to worry about. It's just Goat's dead baby. But Lemillion says that no, it's her dead baby, and it came out of her, which is the proof of her cheating because he is not sleeping with her anymore, so she is sleeping with other men. On hearing this, Carola gets angry and shouts on him. Lemillion, who couldn't control his anger anymore, slaps her, and in return, Carola also slaps him. So Lemillion tries to beat her with his stick, but his friends stop him. Next day, after cutting his hair off, Lemillion came to the shop wearing regular clothes and asks Carola if she will be able to love him now, as he is dressed according to her taste. Just then, Priest enters the shop, and again Lemillion gets jealous, and thinking that they both are having an affair, and tries to fight the priest, but Carola stops him. In the evening, Carola tells Lemillion and others that she will be going to Switzerland for 2 weeks, as her mother wishes to see Sarai. Lemillion, who is hesitant about this, asks Carola again and again that will she come back, on which Carola replies, yes. Carola takes Lemillion to the divorce office, where she makes him sign the divorce and custody papers, as Lemillion is illiterate. After that, Carola says final goodbye to Lemillion and takes the bus to the airport. Lemillion also understands that Carola will not be returning back ever, and the movie ends here. Thank you for watching.